Welcome to another episode of the Diary of a Wellness Bodybuilder. I'm Sumaya Sarwa, your host, and today we are going to be talking all about peak week nutrition. So far, between 2018 to now in 2023, the last 5 years, I have been competing in bodybuilding shows. I have competed in two different divisions as a figure competitor and now as a wellness competitor. So I am going to share my experiences going through those different peak week protocols. Now, keep in mind, I am by no means an expert in bodybuilding, prep, peak week nutrition, or any of that. I'm simply a competitor that has been going through this experience, and I'm here to share what that experience has been like. Ultimately, your genetics, your muscle maturity, your recovery, the coach you have, their expertise, all those things are going to play a really big part in what your peak week nutrition is going to look like. So keep that in mind as we continue this episode. So we are going to start with my very first show that was in 2018. That was literally a disaster. That prep, I started out with a trainer who sold me the idea that he knows how to peak somebody for bodybuilding shows. So I prepped with that person for 10 weeks and I wasn't really seeing much change in my physique. And then when I was 6 weeks out, I started with an actual bodybuilding coach. So mind you, at that time, I wasn't really lean at all. So if you're lean enough, your peak week protocol would be very different versus somebody who is still trying to get leaner. Now, fast forward, I understand the importance of that, but at that time, I didn't know. So in 2018, when I did that first show in a figure division, I remember during peak week, I ate a lot of tilapia. I ate ground turkey. I had a lot of egg whites and asparagus. Now, I am not really sure about any salt manipulation or artificial sweetener or anything being taken out, but I do remember my water was cut the night before, and even though I wasn't lean enough, I got to have burger and fries the night before the show. And the day of the show in the morning, I remember sitting there with a big container of pancakes and just stuffing my face as the makeup artist was doing my hair and makeup. And now when I think about it, I was like, Samaya, what were you doing, girl? But yeah, so I kind of did the basic thing of burger and fries the night before and pancakes the day off. And I'm not even sure if I had any rice cakes or peanut butter jelly or any of that. Water intake wasn't really monitored the day of the show either. I looked really bad on stage. I had no business getting on that stage at all. But I'm glad I got started. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be where I am. And we learn from our experiences. Now, the second show that I did in figure division was in 2019. That time, I started working with yet another coach. That coach was really into keto and carb cycling. So I remember going a few weeks without any carbs so that I could drop more weight and come in leaner. And then when I did get carbs during peak week, it was a carb cycling of 3 days of no carbs and then 1 day of carb. Other than that, I also don't think my water intake or salt or artificial sweetener or any of that was really switched up at all. As for the night before and the day of the show, honestly speaking, I do not recollect any specific protocol whatsoever. I just remember that when I went on stage, my coach wasn't there and I kind of got called before the time I expected to be on stage. So my friend that was backstage with me, Brandon, and his coach, They kind of scrambled together and gave me some rice cake and peanut butter and jelly, and that's all I had. And then I went on stage. That show experience was really scary. I think I went on stage with half of my hair straight and half of my hair curly, and I didn't have enough time to pump up or anything. Now, I placed fifth out of five people on that show. I was super, super disappointed. Now, the first show that I did in 2018, I placed fourth out of five people. So, yeah, not a good experience. That's why, like, after that show in 2019, I decided I needed to take a little break, revamp my mindset. I just was starting to get like a bad taste in my mouth with bodybuilding and competing all together. Before you know, COVID hit in 2020. That's when I kind of started to regain my passion for bodybuilding and competing. And wellness division was announced in 2019. I kind of had the idea of switching over from figure to wellness. In 2020 is when I was like fully committed to go after it, and I started my bulk with yet another new coach who have at that time produced IFBB Pro in the wellness division. So I would say that's when I finally got lean enough. And my first two shows in the wellness division in 2021, what the peak week nutrition looked like was pretty much the same as my nutrition the whole prep. So I was still having fruits and veggies and basically what I was eating all along. I remember eating a lot of chicken breast and rice. Other than that, to be honest, I ate rice cakes with peanut butter and jelly to carb up. There was no outside food introduced because by that time with that coach we had figured out that my digestion is not the best, especially after being restricted from eating certain kind of food for a long time. When like something with a lot of grease or dairy gets introduced into my system, I just bloat up and I felt constipated and gassy, and that is not a good look, especially on stage. The goal is to make my midsection look smaller so that my legs and glutes and everything else can look bigger in comparison. So we did not do any sort of outside carb up like burger and fries or pancakes or anything. I simply ate a lot of like chicken and rice and rice cake and peanut butter jelly. That was it. Water was not cut either. I had regular amount of salt. Everything was pretty much the same. The focus was mostly to get me lean enough before getting to peak week. I did two shows with that coach. I placed fourth in my first wellness competition in 2021. And then I did another show 4 weeks later where I placed third. That show was like a bigger show. And afterwards, I decided to take some time off and just bulk and focus on my hormone, things like that. Now, the most recent shows that I have done this year in 2023 is yet with another coach altogether. However, I would say this experience has been the most rewarding in a way because I had never been able to get this lean before while maintaining this amount of muscle. So I'm currently being coached by IFBB Pro Dr. Sunny Andrews. I have been under her guidance for a little over a year now. I have done a bulk with her and we have done two shows. The first show that I have done with her, I became nationally qualified in the NPC Wellness Division, and then we went and did a national show where I placed fourth in Open Class A. So those two experiences in peak week was completely different. It was a lot more detailed and a lot more refined, I would say, because by then I have been through the process so many times that I'm more self-aware as to what food make me look bloated, what gives me gas, and how much fat or carb makes me look the fullest. Like, it's still a process to be figured out and to be better. I believe there's always room for improvement. But as we go through the process more and more, we learn more about ourselves and we learn more about our body. And same thing goes with the coach, because the coach gets to, I guess in my mind, I look at it as like the coach is treating me like a guinea pig. In this case, um, she's doing the manipulation and telling me, okay, we're going to give you this much carb and then this much water and this much salt, and see how your physique looks. And from there, we figure out what to do for show day. So the last two shows that I have done with Sunny, I have been leaner and leaner each time, and we have made a lot of improvement leading to the peak week, to the point that we have been able to kind of do a lot of water manipulation and carb manipulation. We have taken out salt completely, or given me 3 grams of salt one day, 4 grams of salt one day, and doing check-in throughout the day to see how my body is looking. In addition to that, all the artificial sweetener and fruits get completely cut like 2 to 3 weeks out from the show, not the peak week, from the show. What else did we do? Water, yes. Water also gets manipulated, especially leading to the show. And I think one day or out from the show, I get the least amount of water, and the day of the show, it's literally just like taking sips. When it comes to carving me up, we haven't used anything outside either. You know, nobody wants to be bloated and gassy on stage, and that's what happens to me. So I mostly, here's what I have been eating. I eat rice, chicken breast. I have had some tilapia or some shrimp. And when I'm lean enough, like the last show I was leaner, the leanest I have been, we have introduced red meat like ribeye or a little bit of, let's say, peanut butter. And the day of the show, I have had rice cakes. I have had potato chips, which is my favorite. Oh my God. And honey. So that is what's helped me to get full. But we have kind of figured out that if I get even leaner for the next show, then we would be able to give me more food leading to the show day, so that I come in even fuller and my glutes look bigger. That's the crazy thing about bodybuilding. The leaner you are, the more food your body can handle. And then when you actually carb up properly and you are doing your pump up properly and all that, it's like magic on stage. However, my first show ever in 2018, I looked super spilled over and like a blowfish, like, and so we know not to do that. It's all manipulation. For some people, having a lot of carb may be helpful. For other people, maybe having a little bit more fat would make you look better, or having a little bit more salt would make you look better. For me, too much carbs, no bueno. Too much fat, like oily, greasy fat, no good. My digestion goes to bunkers. Same thing with water. I cannot handle a lot of water leading to the show date. That's when my midsection just completely goes. So all that is to say that peak week nutrition is going to vary from person to person, from how lean they are, what their coach's expertise is, what they believe in, and also how long you have been with that coach. Because end of the day, bodybuilding in itself, or competing or doing anything with your body, is more or less an experiment you are doing. So the longer you go through that process with the guidance and the knowledge, the more self-aware you become, and the better package you're able to bring.